They called it punishment when the village elders decided that Mira would be sent away, spoken in low, satisfied voices as if justice itself had finally exhaled, because in their narrow world her body was treated like a crime she carried openly, her weight mocked in markets, whispered about at wells, blamed for everything from broken engagements to bad harvest luck. And when her wealthy step-uncle wanted to silence a dispute over land inheritance, he framed it as charity mixed with discipline. Announcing that Mira would be given to a poor farmer on the edge of the district, a man named Arjun who lived in a crumbling farmhouse beyond the last bus stop, and the villagers nodded because it sounded tidy, because it allowed them to pretend cruelty was tradition, and Mira stood there with a single suitcase, her heart thudding like a trapped bird, believing every word, believing she was being exiled because she was too much in every way, too heavy for love, too visible for comfort, too expensive to keep, and the road to the farm felt endless as dust coated her shoes and shame coated her thoughts. But when she arrived she noticed the quiet first, not the silence of neglect but the hush of land breathing, fields stretching farther than the eye could measure, wind combing through crops in disciplined rows, and Arjun himself was nothing like the rumor, not a broken man begging for scraps but steady and calm, with eyes that held patience rather than hunger, dressed simply, speaking gently, offering water before questions, and when Mira waited for instructions like an object being placed on a shelf he instead asked what she preferred to be called, a small courtesy that startled her more than anger ever could, and days passed with work that was honest and paced, not punishing, and food that was plentiful and shared without comment, and slowly the lies began to fray, because poor farmers did not have managers arriving with ledgers, did not have grain silos that vanished into the horizon, did not own machinery parked discreetly behind groves, and when Mira finally asked, voice trembling between fear and accusation, Arjun told the truth as simply as he told the weather, that he owned thousands of acres inherited and expanded through quiet contracts, that he kept his wealth invisible because loud money attracts loud trouble, and that the elders knew this, that the punishment was never meant for him, it was meant to erase her, to send her somewhere she would disappear. And the revelation hit her like rain after drought, relief tangled with grief, because knowing you were lied about doesn't immediately heal the wounds of being believed, and yet something changed in how she stood, how she breathed, because dignity, once returned, grows fast, and Mira began to learn the land not as a burden but as a partner, mapping fields, improving storage, negotiating fair prices with buyers who underestimated her until they didn't, and the same villagers who had dismissed her began to hear of record yields, of a poor farmer whose produce set standards, and when they came with cautious smiles Arjun stood back and let Mira speak, watching her voice strengthen as she reclaimed space word by word, and the step-uncle arrived last, smug dissolving into confusion when contracts surfaced, when accounts balanced in her favor, when it became clear that sending her away had not broken her but freed her, and in the end Mira chose not revenge but resolution, insisting on community investments, schools, clinics, roads, because success that only humiliates others is still chained to the past, and as seasons turned the farmhouse became a hub of learning and fairness, and Mira's body, once treated as a verdict, became simply a body again, capable and worthy, carrying a mind that could plant futures, and when she looked back at the suitcase that had once held her entire life she smiled, because punishment had become passage, exile had become empire, and the story that began with cruelty ended with choice. And if this journey moved you, if you believe stories can change how we see ourselves and others, remember to subscribe to the channel for more powerful stories of hidden strength, quiet triumphs, and lives rewritten against all odds.